Video game stores are unlike any other media that exists. A lot of people think that video game stores are just like movie stores, but that's not true. If you look at the runtime between the two, you can see that's clearly not the case. With a longer runtime, it is easier to flesh out your characters and the relationships with other characters in that universe. That's why, in The Last of Us, the main story conflict is two random strangers having to come together and put an end to their zombie apocalypse. But what exactly makes a video game story good? For a game to be a game, there needs to be gameplay. That's why in most games, there's combat. But with the feature of combat, it has to work around the story. That's why in stories, your combat progresses as you progress in the story. And at the end of the game, you should have all your powers or abilities. But you see, combat could either make a game or break a game. Because with repetitive combat and repetitive stealth, it can make missions basically repetitive. And if every mission is like the other mission, then it kind of makes the story pointless if you just do the same thing over and over again. But it just gets a little harder every time. And of course, good gameplay and a fun combat makes the game, well, fun. But you see, that's not what this video is about. It's about the story. Gameplay can lead up to the story, but it really doesn't do much. You see, what makes a game have a good story is the characters, the missions, and the progress of your characters. And that's why the most important thing to a video game story is your main protagonist, as he or she is who you play as throughout the story, and the story revolves around your main protagonist. If we look into a character like Arthur Morgan, we can see why he is described as one of the best video game protagonists of all time. That's because when we start the game, we have no idea who Arthur Morgan is, since in Red Dead 1, the main character is John Marston. So when we play Red Dead 2, we have no idea who this person is. But as we progress in the story, we learn about who he is. We learn about his past with what happened to his kids. We learn about his past with Mary. And we further learn about the entire story with the gang. Obviously, when we start the game, we know that the gang is obviously they're not good people. But as we progress even more in the story, Arthur thinks about his life and he realizes he wants to put an end to this. That's why people consider Arthur to be one of the best protagonists for his big growth in a character. He starts off as a very bad guy, and at the end he wants to be good, obviously, to do good deeds, but his fate stays the same anyways. Obviously, just the entire environment of Red Dead 2 was probably the best environment, which also, even the NPCs changed from 1899 to 1907, I think, with the prelogue. Honestly, those details just make the game amazing and further push the story. Obviously, Red Dead 2 is just a very good game with everything involved, but what happens when we take away gameplay in a game? If we look at The Walking Dead Telltales, you can see there's obviously not much gameplay. This puts a lot of people off, but if you see with the lack of gameplay, basically all we focus on is the story and the characters. I think this change was very interesting the first time I played the game. Well, it's now my favorite game, which probably says a lot. Because the whole thing, if you look at just Season 1 itself, you can see the whole chain bond with Lee and Clementine. Honestly, one of my favorite parts of the game. And then just the way the game ends. I'm not going to say anything about the ending, but for some reason now it's popular on TikTok live streams. I don't know why, but that's not what this video is about. We're just going to talk about it, because with no gameplay, all we focus on is the story. And the whole game is basically filled with just cutscenes and all. That could seem boring just like that, but with no gameplay, there's a lot of choices you need to make. Basically, you choose every dialogue, so basically, for a game with gameplay, you just shoot people, yeah, whatever, but with no gameplay, you basically become that character, and I think that just makes the game ever so much more fun. Even how just The Walking Dead Telltales, if you look at Until Dawn or The Quarry, that game is filled with whatever multiple choices you can do. has like 170 something endings, which is pretty crazy for a video game. Same with Detroit Become Human. I don't know how much that has, but you know what I mean. And that possibilities make a game good. That's not really what I was trying to get at. I'm just saying the whole game just focuses on a character and the story with 4 seasons, which I like every single season. And there's even like DLCs. I haven't gone into the DLCs yet, but I think I'm gonna play them sometime in the near future. But obviously, I'm a bit biased because that's my favorite game, and I like The Walking Dead too. But just my opinion. And now I'm just gonna talk about what I see with a lot of games that basically ruins the games for me. You know, when you're playing a game and then like 80% through the game, the story just like ends, and then the last 20% of the game is this new problem that just comes out of nowhere. Basically both Spider-Man games, except I enjoy those games. Just, I don't know, Spider-Man 2, I'm a little iffy about that game. The only game that I think does that good is Ghost of Tsushima, obviously if you played it, because they build it up. Like, I don't think doing that in Spider-Man 2, but it just, I don't know. I don't like it because in both Spider-Man games, there's always 2 villains and the same thing happens. Ghost of Tsushima, I really like when, obviously, if you played it, you know what happens. That was done very well. And just, yeah, that's it. I'm just gonna say, I probably won't say this in any of my other videos, but if you could subscribe, I want to get to 50 subscribers so I can live stream. And, I don't know, I'm gonna try to upload more soon because I'm playing Batman Origins. But when I'm done that game, I'm gonna make a video on Batman Arkham Asylum, because for some reason I can't record Arkham Origins because I need to stream it on my PS5. But yeah, that's it. If you guys could just subscribe for this so I can live stream, that would be amazing. I just need 50 subscribers, and then I probably won't ask for subscribers after that. But yeah, that's it. Bye.